Love. It's a word we use so often, but what does it truly mean? To find the answer, we can turn to the source. I want to start with the Bible's definition, found in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4 through 8. Love is patient, willing to wait without complaint. Love is kind, actively seeking to do good for others. Love does not envy. Love does not boast. It is not arrogant or proud. It is not rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or easily angered. It is not resentful. It keeps no record of being wronged. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. It protects, it trusts, it hopes, it perseveres through every trial. Love never ends. That's beautiful. It's a high standard, an ideal we all aspire to. But this description of love is incomplete if we stop there. Because real love isn't just warm feelings, it also corrects. It cares enough to not let someone continue down a harmful path. Proverbs 25:6 says, "Do not put yourself forward in the king's presence." Love walks with humility, and it isn't afraid of the truth. Therefore, love accepts correction. Hebrews 12:5 reminds us, "Do not regard lightly the discipline of the Lord." And in Revelation 3:19, Jesus himself says, "Those whom I love I reprove and discipline. So be zealous and repent." Love is kind, and love is honest. It pulls us back when we drift. This loving correction, this righteous judgment, was perfectly embodied by Jesus. Jesus corrected and judged rightly, not out of anger, but out of a deep, holy love. In Matthew 25, we see the Son of Man separating the sheep from the goats. He rewards those who fed the hungry, clothed the naked, and visited the least of these. And with that same love, he confronts those who did not. The Bible is clear. 2 Corinthians 5:10 says, "We must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ." And Acts 10:42 confirms that Jesus is the one appointed by God to be judge of the living and the dead. He walked into the temple and overturned the money tables, calling out hypocrisy and greed that profaned his Father's house. So what happens when we die? Hebrews 9:27 gives a direct answer. It is appointed for man to die once, and after that comes judgment. We must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ. You, me, everyone. And we will not be compared to each other, but to God's perfect, holy standard of love. Here's the hard truth. Every one of us falls short. We've all failed to meet that standard. We've all sinned. If judgment is only about our record, our own deeds, then we are all found guilty. But one man didn't fail. Jesus. He lived the perfect life of love that I couldn't, that none of us could. And then he offered the greatest trade in history. On the cross, he took the punishment for my sin, the judgment I deserve, so that I could receive the life of perfect righteousness he deserves. 2 Corinthians 5:21 explains it this way. He made him to be sin who knew no sin, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God. He takes my sin. I put on his righteousness. This isn't something I earned. It's a gift, given simply because he loves me. So here's the choice. Do I carry my own guilt and failure into judgment, or do I let Jesus carry it for me? Do I want what is fair, or do I want mercy? True love is patient and kind. True love also corrects. It warns, and ultimately, true love saves. Jesus isn't just a good teacher, he is the righteous judge and the merciful rescuer. If you're breathing, it's not too late to turn to him. His grace is offered freely to all who will receive it. Be humble enough to receive his correction. Be brave enough to repent. Ask him to take your sin and give you his righteousness. That's the invitation of the cross. Love never ends. And Jesus, who loved you enough to die and rise again, will be there at the end of all things, ready to welcome all who are his. The choice between judgment and mercy is yours. His arms are open. Choose him today.